In our new Boomtown series, we're sharing how growth is reshaping North Texas. That growth means the need for a lot of water, and state lawmakers are racing to find new supplies. Tonight, Matt Houston travels 2.5 hours northeast of Dallas to Red River County, where a project to support 3 million new residents would come at a steep, irreversible cost.
It's nothing better than this right here.
When the wind whispers in Cuthand, it seems nature stops to listen. Nothing interrupts that God-sent silence except Eddie Belcher.
This to me is heaven. I don't know what everybody else, to me it's heaven.
So Paradise is about 700 acres, 20 miles north of Mount Pleasant, all under a calm canopy.
The quietness, the tranquility, the things you see.
Eddie would tell you he's living his afterlife on the land his family bought a century ago. He'll pass it down to his 6 grandchildren.
This here is my great-grandfather's old house.
One property in one family for 7 generations. But its heirs bear a burden.
Everybody's getting old, and this thing wears on you, man. It wears on me, and I know it wore on my daddy. I think about this thing every day.
Since the 1950s, state leaders have debated damming up the Sulphur River to form a lake, the Marvin Nichols reservoir. Pipes would carry its water to booming DFW, where soon there may not be enough to quench demand.
Texas is, a growing state and it needs more water. Unfortunately, we're running out of that.
For years, Kevin Ward led the committee in charge of finding water for the Metroplex, a group that's recommended Marvin Nichols construction. Their analysts project shortages beginning in 2030 if current supply is not boosted.
You're going to see water rates go up. You're going to see reductions of use. You'll probably see restrictions on landscaping.
The problem worsens with time. The region will need 221,000 acre-feet of water each year by 2030 and 1.33 million by 2080.
Later, what you'll see is growth will slow. Jobs will dry up. You won't have people wanting to move here. You'll see business relocations. You'll see things that you really don't want to see.
Marvin Nichols would not close the gap on its own, but it'd provide enough water for about 3 million people in DFW, or 23% of projected demand. But people live in East Texas too.
Everything in my family will be underwater.
The project would flood almost 70,000 acres, and the state would claim another 130,000 to offset its environmental impact. No one knows exactly which farms or ranches would be taken for preservation.
Where's my family going to go? Where's my community, my friends? It's not only me. It's going to break the whole community up.
That community works in warehouses like this one.
You're always going to need wood.
Brett Lowry manages the Ward Timber Sawmill in Linden. The biggest logs become railroad ties, smaller planks are treated and used for shipping pallets, and the scraps become diapers.
Everything we do here affects so many other industries around here. Our biggest concern is the loss of raw materials for the sawmill.
Their hardwood comes from the Sulphur River basin. Flooding those forests leaves little land for the local timber industry to replant what it cuts down. Sawmills in northeast Texas could not easily replenish their own supply, so they'd need to buy wood from other regions.
I think anybody that believes in private property rights, protection of the environment, not robbing the poor to pay the rich, I don't think they would be for this project.
Jim Thompson is Ward Timber's attorney and leads the committee in charge of northeast Texas's water supply. He argues too much of DFW's water goes to waste, and that the state has not adequately explored alternatives to Marvin Nichols.
To me, the project and the planning process itself, to some extent, is flawed. I think there are entities that are going to make so much money off of this project they can't turn it loose.
It'll cost at least $7 billion to build the reservoir, but Kevin Ward contends that is the cheapest realistic proposal, partly because it's the closest to the new demand.
Marvin Nichols just happens to be at that sweet spot right now as far as the dollars and cents go, where the pipes are already running in some cases, where they'll be run in the future. Marvin Nichols is there.
We're certainly willing to work as far as additional water resources that we have available, but not this project, not one so damaging to our area.
Not to exceed 5 minutes.
The two sides will have to come to some agreement before the State Water Board drafts its next 5-year plan this fall. The debate will almost certainly reach the state legislature.
This will be resolved in one way or another. Will someone come riding in at a white horse with another solution to where you don't have to do this? It could happen.
Come on!
It's just about everyone's prayer.
Come on! You want some? Huh?
Though few have begged for divine intervention more than the ones who believe they're already in heaven.
Come on! God ain't making no more land. But let us live our life, and we'll try our best to help you any way we can. But don't take our homes.
That would bring a kind of silence that he can't stand. In Cuthand, I'm Matt Houston.
Well, in the past 24 hours, a state lawmaker suggested they could be moving on from Marvin Nichols Reservoir. State Senator Charles Perry told Inside Texas Politics they're planning to push for a constitutional amendment to create a new water source. Senator Perry didn't specify where that water would come from, but says it would provide more than Marvin Nichols.
I think probably by the end of February, mid-March, my counterparts in other places are having the same conversations we're having about possibly purchasing water. All the political fronts look good. That's the stars that aligned.
Senator Perry plans to make an announcement fairly soon, and if his proposal passes, voters would have to approve it in November. You can hear a lot more about this growth issue right now on our latest episode of Politics. Download it for free wherever you get your podcasts.